Now, from your trusted team of meteorologists at Panhandle Weather, this is your evening forecast update.
Hey, this is meteorologist Chris Smith here as we look out over across northwest Florida at a much quieter evening across our area. Meteorologist Dan Nyman is here as well, and looking a lot better than it did 12 hours ago.
So are we, Chris. We're definitely faking being a little more awake here. Definitely looks nice enough outside now to start to move forward after that, of course, rough morning with showers and thunderstorms.
Yeah, we got some changes coming. We're going to take a look at those changes and what they mean for us. We're also going to take a look back at the severe weather that we saw earlier this morning, in particular that we ended up seeing back over toward Mexico Beach at around 6:25 this morning as we had some severe storms move through that area. Let's take a live look right now over into Destin, where we have clear skies. Things looking much better. You see all the tiki boats coming back in after their afternoon on the water. They ended up being able to get out there on the water. We are seeing some cloud cover that kind of pushed out across our area. You probably noticed that this evening. There was kind of an ominous look to the clouds as they kind of shot overhead and went out over into the Gulf. We only saw a couple isolated showers with it. It was kind of cool, and I'll show you what happened here in just a minute. But you see that veil of cloudiness again extending out over into the Gulf this evening. As we look at live Doppler radar, you see what sticks out there, the severe weather reports that we had this morning down toward the Forgotten Coast. Meanwhile, you see a boundary pushing in from the north, interacting with the sea breeze, which actually made some progress inland and acted like when these two intersected, we got a couple showers. We had one shower pop up just between the Choctawhatchee Bay and Ebro, and we ended up having another little shower popping up back over into eastern parts of Gulf County. So again, we had a couple showers pop up here very briefly this evening, but it was kind of cool as we saw the sea breeze interacting with that front that's pushing in from the north, lifted up the atmosphere and got those showers to go. There's that veil of cloudiness. This is infrared satellite imagery. It's a little tougher to tell, but you can see those clouds that just kind of extended across parts of Panama City Beach, Panama City, and back over into South Walton this evening, but it should remain pretty quiet tonight. Look what happened to our winds. You can definitely tell the northerly wind. So that's what happened is this northerly wind is taking over. We saw a little bit of a sea breeze try and push inland, and when those intersected, we got that little boundary, and that was enough to create those couple small showers. But the northerly winds are winning out. It's already pushed that sea breeze offshore. We're seeing that drier air begin to filter in, and that's going to allow for cooler temperatures tonight. It's not going to be outrageously cool, but it's definitely going to be cooler than what we saw this morning, where it was much more soupy across our area. You already see temperatures right now dropping down through the 60s up into Jackson County. We're holding on to 70s along the coastline, but those cooler temperatures will win out. So as we move through the evening hours tonight, we'll see temperatures dropping down through the 60s. By 4 o'clock in the morning, we'll see temperatures down into the 50s across our area. We'll still kind of keep a mix of clouds out there. We're not going to completely clear things out. Low temperatures tonight for my inland friends, about 55 to 57 degrees. Beach temperatures will be right around 60, but it should be a very nice start to the day, a much quieter start to your day for your Tuesday. Now, for the very latest on the severe weather that we saw this morning, let's go to meteorologist Dan Nyman.
Yeah, of course, Chris. Active morning for about an hour or so. We really saw things start to ramp up across the Gulf, and then of course became activity that moved onshore as well. So a pretty busy morning for Chris, especially, who kind of wore it here for about 4 hours or so, moving through with that line of showers and thunderstorms. Two spots mainly seeing active weather over the course of the last 24 to 36 hours. We saw it in the western Panhandle over the course of really an entire day, starting as early as yesterday morning and then moving through. You see all the way across coastal spots through the early parts of the overnight hours last night. And then as we got closer towards sunrise, the focus shift towards the southeastern quarter of Bay County and down towards St. Joe Beach as well, Mexico Beach, bearing the brunt of a cell moving onshore that showed lots of rotation offshore and definitely produced some pretty impressive damage across some of the land there across 98 as well. Saw some wind reports too over towards East Point as we saw this line of showers and thunderstorms developing. A whole lot of activity across the Gulf that eventually shifted towards the east, and it was really the isolated cells that produced the biggest problem for us over the course of that time frame. The rotation tracker here not necessarily playing along, but you'll see as I put this into motion, there's your cell moving towards the onshore direction, and as that happened, we definitely saw one of the more impressive supercellular-like structures in the offshore region. There's still a little question, I think, for Chris and I as to how quickly that transitioned from rotation right there to more of a straight line wind. The National Weather Service will be out there tomorrow to keep a close eye on that. They'll do all the damage surveying necessary to decide what kind of winds did we see. There's no question, though, we saw some pretty strong winds through parts of Mexico Beach. El Governor, of course, sustaining some pretty heavy damage. And then across the street, you saw the RV park associated with it take a pretty big, significant hit as well. We also got some reports earlier this morning of some hail over towards 71, just a little bit north and east of Mexico Beach. That's pretty believable. Even though we're exiting summer now into fall, where it's a little harder to get hail in these thunderstorms, you can see that's your spot where rotation was occurring just offshore. Big time updrafts within this thunderstorm cell as it moved onshore up to 50,000 feet in height, a rotating updraft right within the inflow of dry air right there. It was a pretty firm, pretty confident guess for us before that moved onshore that yes, it was producing a tornadic waterspout for a pretty prolonged period of time. As far as rain totals go, well, we needed a lot of rainfall, and you see here anywhere from 2 or 3 inches where you see the yellow colors, slightly higher amounts in isolated pockets. My friends, though, in Calhoun, Liberty County, even I'd say up across I-10, you probably were hoping for a little more, just a few winters in northern Washington County up by Chipley and Boniface. So much needed rainfall event for us. We certainly could have done without the severe weather. Cleanup continues. I have seen as well, Chris, that power lines and power generally starting to be restored across Gulf County as well. So we're turning the corner here, but it'll probably be a pretty long time before we get completely back to normal. It's a story we've seen once before.
Yeah, we were at its peak. That when I was looking, it was what, 2,500 people without power down in Gulf County. Everything else is pretty isolated as far as the amount of power outages, but Gulf County in particular, obviously kind of bearing the brunt from Mexico Beach and back over towards St. Joe Beach, the Beacon Hill area, all seeing those showers and thunderstorms that we saw earlier this morning. This is what it looks like outside right now in Panama City Beach this evening. There you go. Temperatures currently 73 degrees, dew point at 68. So it's still pretty soupy, but notice that northeasterly wind there at the top of the screen. That indicates that drier air will begin to filter in, and we'll start to see that dew point temperature come down here very shortly. There's that cloud cover extending out over into the Gulf. That's what I was talking about, that boundary that we were looking at that first was inland with the front moving in, interacting with the sea breeze, and then the clouds just pushing offshore. So this was that sea breeze, but now is waved goodbye as the northerly wind winning out and that drier air beginning to filter in across our area. Sea Screamers, looks like it's 6 o'clock, not heading out this evening. You can see that breeze, and notice the flags are kind of blowing back towards us. This is looking at Grand Lagoon. You can see kind of cloudy skies, but the flags blowing again kind of from that northerly direction, indicating that drier air. As we look at live Doppler radar across northwest Florida, again, quiet. You see that boundary, again, getting pushed offshore this evening. Very briefly there on radar, we had a couple isolated showers just north of the Intercoastal Waterway and back not too far away from ECP, saw a brief little shower. So what's going on with the weather? As for us, as we make our way into tomorrow, we'll see some periods of sun, periods of clouds, not too bad. We'll see some rain on Wednesday as a front passes across our area. Then it turns much, much colder here across northwest Florida. Temperatures this evening dropping down from the 60s down into the 50s as you wake up tomorrow morning. You got pretty much one rain chance after today, and that's going to be on Wednesday. But while you see 50%, you're like, oh, that's kind of high. The period of rain on Wednesday will probably be maybe a half hour. That's it. So while you might get a downpour, there's a chance maybe for some lightning as that front comes through. It's not going to be a big deal as far as the duration, and probably not enough that I would worry about taking the umbrella. So don't fret too much about that. So the storm track is just north of our area. So as we make our way into your Tuesday, most of the showers and thunderstorms will be spinning to our north. And for our area, we're going to get a chance to dry out as we head into tomorrow. You can see this little bump in the atmosphere. This is your area of low pressure. As that moves to the east, that's going to take with it these showers, and they're going to kind of lift to the north. For us, we stay in this northwesterly flow, which is going to be a little bit drier, but then we await. This is your next storm system right here, and I use that loosely. It's going to be more of a temperature change for us, but also maybe a slight chance for a shower, and that will slide its way off to the east. So here's what's going to be happening across northwest Florida as we make our way on into your evening. There's front number 1. That moved through today. Here comes front number 2. That comes in from the west. Tuesday night, you can see that line of showers right there, but Wednesday morning as this slides through, that will bring that chance of rainfall and then cooler temperatures. As far as the temperature trend, look at this. We're down into the 70s, at least the 70s for the next 7 days. At the coast, we'll drop down briefly into the 60s Thursday and Friday. Keep in mind, Friday, trick-or-treating, high school football, it'll be the coolest game this season for sure. And then even then, we rebound into the low 70s as we make our way on into the weekend. So as we talk about that trick-or-treating forecast for your Friday, we'll see temperatures into the 60s during the evening hours, dropping off into the upper 50s through 7 o'clock in the evening. Now, talking a little bit more about the rain on the way for your Wednesday. It's not going to be a lot, but there will be some rain out there. We go to meteorologist Dan Nyman.
Yeah, certainly nothing to write home about. I think fortunate, Chris, are we to get a little bit more than maybe the models looked like last Tuesday and Monday, when things this past weekend were shaping up to be much closer to 0.2 of an inch of rainfall. I don't think we're going to see that sort of swing for us here, though, anytime soon with the forecast as we get towards the middle of this week. It really is a brief period of time on Wednesday that we'll be watching this futurecast to pick up on not just the cloud coverage, but eventually a quick blip of some showers and possibly a thunderstorm towards the coast, but even that looking fairly unlikely at this time. Until then, there will be some periodic cloud coverage. So it's not like all of the fronts that we see where, you get that period afterwards that the skies open up completely almost instantly. You still have some of the scattering of north to south movement within the cloud coverage on the Futurecast model tomorrow evening. And then as you get closer towards Wednesday, there you see it's a very thin line of showers sliding through just one region closer towards the coast, right across the Choctawhatchee Bay here. Our model hinting towards maybe some slightly heavier rain, but ultimately that as well is not all that prolonged, as everything, of course, starts pulling towards the east more quickly towards the mid-morning hours. Getting closer towards lunchtime, you're starting to watch places along the Apalachicola River, and then as you get to lunchtime, it's all the way through Tallahassee. Shortly after that, can't rule out a few more clouds waving on through as you get through Wednesday afternoon into Thursday morning, but once again, as we talk about the chance of rainfall, not a whole lot to write home about. It's going to be something that you probably could miss pretty quickly if you're not looking at the right time for Wednesday morning. Rainfall totals, at least here on the models, well, 1/100 of an inch is nothing impressive, especially considering we saw almost 7 inches of rain in just over an hour back west yesterday, just to the west of Orange Beach. As far as winds go, though, the northerly wind's going to make a significant difference in the feel outside through the first half of the week. I would call this the pleasant part of the week, at least through the morning hours. Pretty comfortable sweatshirt weather as you head out the door. Still going to wear the light t-shirt as you get through the afternoon, but then the evening hours, things cooling off as well. A little breezier, though, as the front passes through. You start to see those winds towards the coast. Look at Inlet Beach, up to 20 miles per hour. Temperatures eventually, too, will drop pretty significantly behind that front as well. Comfortable start to the week with morning lows, 50s and 60s down towards the coast. As you get through Tuesday afternoon, highs only towards the mid-70s at the beaches, barely breaking out of the 60s in inland locations. So as you get out the door tomorrow, you probably have to figure maybe a light sweatshirt for the kids stepping out for the first bell. But through the after-school hours, I think things are still going to feel plenty pleasant, especially considering how long we went with things certainly looking comfortable for us here in the Panhandle. At the coast, your 7-day forecast, a lot more sunshine coming for us here as we get through that cold front Friday, Saturday, Sunday, all seeing that sunshine icon. But look at those low temperatures, 40s towards the coast, near 30s as you get inland on Saturday. Definitely going to be a chilly feel for us here in the forecast area, especially through the morning hours. Now across the tropics, Chris, we have some cameras still pulled in here from Jamaica, where things are certainly looking a little more worrisome as we get in towards tomorrow.
Yeah, that's Hurricane Melissa, up to 175 mile per hour winds. This is a live look in Kingston, Jamaica, where they're going to avoid the strongest of the winds, but they are going to see a pretty big storm surge there in Kingston. Now, Kingston's on the eastern side of Jamaica, the southeastern side of Jamaica, and it's in an area that's very low and prone to storm surge flooding. The mountainous areas are going to get tremendous rainfall, and that's going to cause some big flash flood concerns up there. You can already see water running high there. This is in Flatbridge, Jamaica. A live view down there right now with the heavy rainfall continuing down there across Jamaica, and it's only going to be getting worse as we make our way through the night tonight into tomorrow morning. This is the wide view. It sticks out like a sore thumb. Just a nearly perfect eye there. The pressure now down. Last advisory was at 906 millibars. So Hurricane Michael was 918 millibars. This is getting down there into some of the lowest when it comes to pressure. This is your infrared satellite imagery here. You notice it's gone west of Jamaica, but if you look here the past few hours, it's pretty much stalled out. It's not moving at all anymore. So now what's going to begin to happen, it's going to begin to move to the north and eventually the northeast, probably crossing over the western half of Jamaica. The core of it could get very near Montego Bay, but over here is Kingston, and that's where I'm talking about that possibility of seeing over towards Kingston, this water just continuing to get pushed up here into the bays and causing those big problems. So there you see, Category 5 hurricane, 906 millibars, 175 miles per hour. That's the latest advisory. Next one comes out tonight at 10 o'clock. So again, the storm is pretty much gone stationary, technically northwest at 3 miles per hour. Watch what happens as we move through the night tonight into tomorrow. It moves off to the north and east, crossing through the Bahamas, and eventually could potentially impact Bermuda later on this week. So while the storm will make impact tonight into tomorrow morning across Jamaica, it's going to be dealt with Tuesday into Wednesday through Cuba, the southeastern Bahamas, and then Thursday into Friday impacting possibly Bermuda still as a hurricane. So it's going to stay obviously well away from the United States. We will see swells from the storm eventually make their way to the East Coast, but as far as any direct impacts, that is not going to be the case. And there you see the cone, Bermuda, firmly in the middle there of the center of the track. So certainly possible that even Bermuda could end up seeing some impacts from this storm. As we widen out the picture and bring it back down here, these are all the computer models here. We're seeing a pretty good clustering showing them moving up to the north and then northeast, crossing over the islands, moving on through Cuba, the southeastern Bahamas, and then again, pretty tightly clustered getting up there close to Bermuda as you make way into that Thursday, Friday timeframe. So this is Thursday night, Friday morning at midnight, then racing through the island within just a few hours. They will, in theory, be lucky because it will be weaker, but also the duration, because that's the thing with Melissa, the duration of the wind and the rain down there across Jamaica, just going to be absolutely incredible. And this is the American computer model here showing this is Jamaica, right where my finger's at, and see it spinning right there. As we move through the time tonight, you see it moves across the western part of Jamaica, up near Montego Bay it will cross, then it crosses over the southeastern part of Cuba. As it interacts with Jamaica, as it interacts with eastern parts of Cuba, this will all help lead to some weakening of the storm system. Obviously, the Bahamas won't cause as much of an issue. They're not as mountainous. It's the mountains of Jamaica and Cuba that are going to be part of what keeps this thing from maintaining its strength as it moves up to the north. And this is heading out to Friday night. It'll have moved through very close to Bermuda. Now, rainfall. This is the other story that we have, so we'll bring it back down here with how much rain will we end up seeing from this? Well, there could be a very large swath of Jamaica that will see upwards of 15 inches of rainfall. And you see that as the storm system crosses over. The eastern side of the island will see lighter rainfall totals. The western side will see more, but you're still getting up there 15 plus inches. Maybe the eastern side could be into that 6 to 10 inch variety of rainfall. But that swath of heavy rain continues across eastern parts of Cuba through the southeastern Bahamas. And this goes through Thursday night, but at least at this point it's beginning to move. So the ability to rack up rainfall totals that are getting up there 15, 20, even 25 inches is going to be pretty limited. So again, we look at back here at home, we have some clouds tomorrow, slightly cooler. We got a small chance that we got some rain, brief rain on Wednesday, and after that, smooth sailing right on through the weekend. Our coolest weather so far this season, Dan.
Yeah, definitely going to be probably reaching for the sweatshirt, if not a pretty heavy coat after the summer we had, which wasn't all that warm, Chris, but it just felt like it wouldn't end. And this is going to be quite the shock for us here as we wrap up October. Worth mentioning, though, on a more serious note, thoughts are certainly with the folks impacted in Mexico Beach this morning, and everybody needs to send prayers down to Jamaica. I think the rainfall forecast is slightly improved, but I mean, you're splitting hairs, to be honest, with the impacts expected there. It is going to be a significant and disruptive storm, and certainly not going to be pretty pictures coming out there once we start to get them after landfall.
And I think, too, I want to thank everyone that sent pictures through the app, all the people that reached out about the app. We had like our second biggest day of downloads, I think, probably, of the app today. So we appreciate that. The Roku app comes out tomorrow at lunch. Yeah. So I was told 12 o'clock is when it goes live in the store. That's 40% of smart TVs are Roku. So that's big, but we also know that there are other people. I have Apple TV, other folks have Fire Sticks. So we're going to be rolling those out. Roku's a little easier to do than the other ones, and they have the biggest numbers. So we're starting there, but be patient here over the next month or so. We hope to get some of these other apps out. So obviously in the meantime, you can watch on YouTube, you can watch on your phone, you can watch when we're in storm coverage and scheduled shows like this one. We can stream on Facebook. Facebook limits you as to how long you can do it over, so I can't just run the 24/7 channel all the time on Facebook. So we have to kind of pick broadcasts, severe weather coverage and broadcasts like this one to stream on Facebook. But we're getting it out there to as many folks. We appreciate y'all hunting for us in the meantime, and we appreciate your support.
It's an ever-evolving process to make this easier to find. Every day. Make it easier for us to work with too, but we are definitely improving every day as well. I think it's a good place to wrap things up for this evening, Chris. Of course, still plenty more updates to come on the channel, and we'll be with you all week long on what's going to be, I think, a little bit lighter of a workload for us after what's been a very long and pretty crazy day in the weather world.
Yeah, I think we're going to be able to, I'm going to hit the sack, I think, a little early tonight.
Yeah.
Maybe do a few more updates on the channel, but hit the sack early and maybe get a full night's sleep and not a brief one.
6 hours on the way for Chris, maybe 8 for me. Either way, thanks for your time. Thanks for supporting us. It's not even been a month, and I feel like we've had such an amazing experience so far. I know I've just dropped out there, but Chris, the sky's the limit, it feels like, and I'm super proud to be doing this with you.
Yes, it's awesome. Yeoman's work once again. Dan was working from his house this morning covering the severe weather, and he was driving things from his house, and meanwhile I was here in the studio. So even though you didn't see Dan, he was actually working quite a bit this morning, and it was a good test. We now know like a lot of different things we need to work on, but we also know that we can, what we're planning to do is going to work. It's going to work well.
Either way, have a good night.
Hey, y'all have a wonderful night.
See ya.
Wait. Use the shovel and bucket of water, remember? Drown, stir, drown, feel. Then make sure it's cool.
Where'd you learn that?
SmokeyBear.com. Brushed up on some tips before we left. Don't want to start a wildfire, right?
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Everyone has a ritual, that small thing that keeps us focused.
A habit we never skip to clear our minds and elevate our performance.
But what do you do to keep your head in the game, to drown out that self-doubt and support your mental health? Because being your best isn't just about taking care of your body.
It's about taking care of your mind and your mental health.
Discover the resources that you need to keep your mind focused and your mental health a priority.
Now, from your trusted team of meteorologists at Panhandle Weather, this is your evening forecast update.
Well, let's take a look at what's going on weather-wise across our area. We had those big storms this morning, and hopefully you had the Panhandle weather app. We had a whole bunch of downloads today with those storms moving through, and if you don't have it, go ahead and download it. It's free in the iTunes App Store and the Google Play Store. Our weather, quieter for the next really much of the next week. We do have a chance of rainfall Wednesday, but other than that, it's just going to be the ebbs and flows of temperatures. And I have to say, we're going to get our coolest air of the season by the end of the week. Tomorrow, just periods of sun. It will be cooler, I think noticeably cooler, because we won't have as much sunshine. We'll keep partly cloudy skies overnight. It will be a little bit cooler than what it was this morning. It'll be mainly into the 50s, not as many 60s. So look at the next 7 days, you see rain chances jump up briefly on Wednesday, but that doesn't probably tell the whole story because it's going to be kind of a line of showers, maybe a storm moving west to east, but it's going to be really thin. So the amount of Wednesday that will be impacted is actually going to be quite small. As we move into the weekend, Sunday, Monday, not much in the way of any rainfall, maybe a slight chance. Let's go ahead and show you what's been happening across the southeastern United States. The active weather will be a little bit more to the north. Trough of low pressure right here, moisture along the system track aids and scattered showers across parts of Georgia, in particular up into the Carolinas. You see, here's our trough of low pressure. There's all that moisture off to the east as that trough swings through. We still have moisture extending all the way from the Carolinas back out into the Atlantic. Here comes your next weather maker right here. This is your trough of low pressure. This is the moisture axis down to the south, and that will swing on through, and that's going to bring us that chance of rain on Wednesday. So again, here's another look at it in the upper levels of the atmosphere, and as that slides to the east, it will drag a front across our area. As we look at our future clouds and radar across our neck of the woods, you can see there's your front sliding on through. Here comes your next front out to the west, and that's going to bring that chance of rainfall by Wednesday morning. Behind that, really cool air. Look at this, 70s the next couple of days and 60s for Thursday, Friday. Back into the 70s over the weekend, but running at to below average as far as those temperatures. Future clouds and radar. Again, there goes the cloud cover. From time to time, though, you'll see periods of clouds and it'll look pretty gloomy. And then other times you'll see the sunshine return. And that'll be the case for your Tuesday across our area. Wednesday, here comes your front. There's that thin band of showers, slides to the east, and there on the back side, we clear things out, at least briefly, but there'll be an area of low pressure to the north that might spin some clouds back down across our area, at least for a little bit of Wednesday night into Thursday. This is not going to be a big rainfall maker. We're probably talking about hundredths to a tenth of an inch of rainfall as that front comes through on Wednesday. So winds are going to be out of the north the next couple of days, 5 to 10 miles an hour, I think, on average. What's going to happen Tuesday night into Wednesday, we'll see a brief onshore wind develop. That front moves through, and then winds start really screaming out of the west and northwest, and that starts to usher in that drier, cooler air mass for the latter part of the week. For tonight, as I mentioned, a little bit cooler than what it was Monday morning. 50s inland, 60s along the coastline. High temperatures Tuesday, 70s pretty much area-wide. It just depends upon if you get enough sunshine, you get mid-70s, a little more cloud cover, low 70s. The kids can leave the rain gear at home. We'll keep that mix of sun and clouds, a cooler start. Afternoon highs at dismissal. climbing up into the 70s. Let's look at that 7-day forecast. We have that chance of rainfall for your Wednesday, but again, it's a very brief period of rain as that front comes through. Then we cool things off Thursday, Friday. We stay cool through the weekend. Look at these low temperatures. We're going to be down into the 40s, maybe close to the 30s for inland areas on Saturday morning.